some of the stands that you had is giving you this kind of trouble that you're seeing today, is in crisis right now.
Yes.
Are you sticking with the party?
But of course, the PDP is my party. I will never leave the party.
You're never considering going back to the APC?
I would never. The APC, absolutely out of the question. Until kingdom comes, until Jesus returns, that will never happen.
But you left the PDP for the APC.
Well, we've discussed that on many, many occasions. I've told you my reasons for doing that at that time. I was not happy.
The Nigerian people will ever vote for a man that believes that we should drag this country back. A man with a pitiful and disgraceful record. When he was in power, he locked people up, he created people, he killed people with retroactive legislation, he carried people on the streets of London illegally, turned Nigeria into a pariah nation, a man that looted PTF. And I say that because the report, I was in government when the Haruna Adamu report was filed. I discussed with President Obasanjo at the time. I know what the president told myself and Aki Oshutoku privately. If not for the fact that the main person in that report, that is a man by Siraju and in-law Buhari, dropped dead the day that we decided to prosecute Buhari for it, that man would have been the key prosecution witness and Buhari would have been in jail by now. The truth of the matter is that he was very corrupt, and that Siraju report, the PTF report, absolutely indicted him. A man that when he was Minister of Oil in I believe it was in 1987 or thereabouts, President Obasanjo was the head of state at the time. It was in 1977 or thereabouts. 2.8 billion naira went missing under his watch. That's the equivalent of 3 billion naira today. A man that committed so many atrocities. Let me tell you something that he did that a lot of people don't remember. This is a man that converted all the currency that we had at that time and told everybody to convert their currency within 1 week, forgetting the fact that most northerners at the time dealt in cash, and most of them kept those the cash in their homes. They lost everything overnight simply because of Buhari's way. A man that sent so many people to jail for hundreds of years without due process, without any credible evidence. A man
what about the tribunal that was set up?
Listen to me. No lawyer attended let me remind you.
There were reports of the tribunal.
You may be too young to know this.
No. If I was young,
I mean, you were not alive when Julius Caesar was alive, but he lived. So that's not a fair. No. Let me put this to you. Sure, there were tribunals, but what I'm putting to you is that the only people that attended those tribunals were the judges or military administrators that were appointed by the government, and the late Gani Fawemi. The rest of the legal world boycotted those tribunals because there was no due process. There were no laws administered there. It was just a kangaroo court. There were many people that had been found innocent by the ordinary courts that he now insisted must be jailed at all costs. And this man destroyed the lives of so many people, including the lives of serving governors who were locked up, who after their release died a few months later. Bisi Onabanjo, Adamu Atta, so many of them. Adamu Atta lived for quite some time, but he was never the same person again. So many of them. Ambrose Ali and so many. This is what Buhari did. This is what he stands for. Unfortunately, most people that were 10 years old when Obasanjo came into power in 1999 have no recollection of his. We don't teach history in this country. So people have forgotten.
I met Buhari through El Rufai. We interacted 3-4 times. We'll go and meet him. He had a house somewhere else, not here. He lives just around the corner from here now. But he had a house elsewhere. We went there. So, but as time went by, he now started sending for me. So I went there with Nasser. Then one day, they called and said he wanted to see me. I said, okay, I'll go. I met him at the transfer. And I got there. He said we should go inside the bedroom. So we sat in the bedroom talking. He started talking. He said, he wants to, I know his aspiration, but he has a challenge with trusting people in view of what has happened to him in the past. But that he just wants me to know that he would want me to work closely with him if he manages to win the nomination for his party, and that he likes me, I'm courageous. The Obasanjo said a lot to him about me, that once I'm on board I will fight all the way, and he loves that. Anyway, to cut a long story short, let me tell you why I'm telling you this story. We started talking about the history and about the Igbos. You know what this man said to me? He said, they killed our leaders in the middle of the night, and we can never forget it. That it's a cultural problem. You can't trust them. When he was talking about trust, that's where it came up. I said, sir, they killed not just northern leaders. They killed leaders from every zone. Southwest, where I come from, yes. The Niger, the south, everywhere. Every zone. Not just the north. And he said, no. He said, but we remember. We will never forget. We will never forget. And and we cannot trust them. He said it's a cultural problem. When he said this, it's sunk in. I had never seen that level of racism in any. I mean, I've interacted with quite a few leaders. I've never seen that. This was deep-seated hatred for a whole nation of people. And I left that room thinking to myself, these people have to be stopped. Because if they're not stopped, if they have power, what they will do, first they will deal with the Igbos, then they will come and deal with us. You know, they will deal with everybody. And it's one of the main reasons, apart from the issue of Muslim ticket. That's what I said, no. Not only will I leave them, I will also expose them and fight them. You understand there are some basic, fundamental, core issues that you must never compromise on. It's not about giving Nnamdi Kanu a position of SGF or position of vice president or something like that. Because if you do that, he will serve his term, then we'll be back to square one.
Square zero, man.
Absolutely. You know, you've got to fight for your people. You've got to fight for your people.
And it's structural, seismic change, both in thinking and in approach.
And if they say no, then break it. You know, I told you when we were in detention, the truth is I don't even believe in this union anymore. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in Nigeria. I don't believe that the Northwest and the Northeast, you know, as they are now, should be part of us. Because their whole mindset, their whole, you know, view about the world is different to ours.
Look at the 5 years of President Muhammadu Buhari. People have complained that there's this lopsided appointment, and the presidency and its supporters have all come out to even release statements saying that there's nothing like lopsidedness in the appointment made by President Muhammadu Buhari, that so far the president has been very fair. Do you think there is? Well, if I ask you if you think there is lopsided appointment, I'll be asking a statement a lot of person knows that what you will say. But let's take a look at appointment in the last 5 years. Is it anything to go by?
You know, let me start by answer this question by saying this. The Nazis that surrounded Hitler and Adolf Hitler when he was in power, anything and everything he did was commended and defended and justified and rationalized by not only himself but all those around him. Even when he was gassing 6 million Jews, gypsies and homosexuals and Slavs and blacks in the gas chambers, they rationalized and they defended it. But facts are sacred, opinion is cheap. And the facts are self-evident and clear for everybody to see. It's not my opinion, these are facts. And let's look at those facts. You talk about lopsidedness or non-lopsidedness. In the first time in our history, in a multiracial, multicultural, multi-religious country, you have a situation whereby every single security agency, and there are 17 of them, every single one of them, except for the Navy, is headed by a northern Muslim. Now, somebody was on your program yesterday and tried to argue that the position of Chief of Defense Staff was held by a Christian from the South, and that counted for something. It doesn't count for anything. It's an administrative position. We're talking about operational command. We're talking about those that control the troops on the ground. We're talking about those that have command over men in the field. Every single one of them in this country, except for the Navy, is in the hands of a northern Muslim. That is unacceptable. It is even dangerous. It doesn't end there. You go to the oil sector. We have the president himself, who is the substantive minister of oil. Then you now have the GMD of NNPC, which is the goose that lays the golden egg. He's a northern Muslim. Both substantive minister, GMD, northern Muslims, and every single subsidiary and sensitive managerial position in NNPC is also headed by a northern Muslim. This is unacceptable. That's the executive, and I could go on more and more about the executive. Virtually every key position in this government has been manned by a northern Muslim. Now, it doesn't stop there, unfortunately. It gets worse. If you go to the legislature, you have a situation whereby for the first time in our history, the legislature again is also not just the executive, but the legislature as well is headed by a northern Muslim. The president of the Senate is a northern Muslim. You go to the federal house, we have a very good man there, a good friend of mine. I've known him for 40 years. He's a southerner, thankfully, and he's doing very well. He's of the Muslim faith, neither here nor there, but at least he's there. Now, you also go outside of the legislature, you go to the judiciary. For the first time in our history again, you have the executive led by a Northern Muslim, all the key positions held by Northern Muslims, the legislature led by a Northern Muslim, National Assembly. You go to the judiciary, again, Supreme Court headed by a Northern Muslim. You now have a Court of Appeal. It was headed by a Northern Muslim. Now you have a Christian that ought to have been confirmed. They refused to confirm him. Let's hope that she will be confirmed. We're all hoping for that. Up until recently, you also had the President of the Federal High Court was also a Northern Muslim. Thankfully, that has changed now. Now, if you look at all this, you have a situation whereby it's clear that there has been a preponderance of appointments to the North and to Muslims by the Buhari administration. There's nothing wrong with having Northerners and Muslims in many places. But the truth of the matter is that in a country like this, we have always practiced the principle of federal character, balancing, and sensitivity. We've always carried other regions along, other faiths along, and balanced everything. That is the nature of our country. President Buhari came in, he tinkered with all that, he has done what he has done, and for anybody to attempt to rationalize or defend it, I think is quite unacceptable. It's actually an insult to our collective intelligence.